3, 2, 1, go. Welcome to Grounds After Rounds.
Oh, hi there.
Hi, Zoom.
Sorry. Listening and viewing audience at home. Oh, no. What just fell out? Oh, my power fell out.
Not until, and I think I said this before, and I think it was during the open last year that I think Shelly was taking pictures. And there was a picture of me, and I had my hands up like this. And I think I said like 5 rounds or 5 minutes, something like that.
Yeah,
And I remember seeing that picture of my hand, and I'm like, I don't think I ever realized, like I always know I have big hands.
I'm back.
I don't think I ever realized that I feel like I have like a catcher mitt hand here, and then like hot dog fingers.
Tiny little fingers?
Yeah.
So giant
I don't
palms,
even think they're like, I don't even think
fingers.
they're tiny. Like, can we measure our fingers?
Sure. It's going
Can
to
we
get
have a
weird.
finger measuring
Just a
contest?
finger measure? So
There we go. So like, I think I have long fingers, but then look how like much, if we can get weird again, look at the girth of that finger.
you do have
Like
thick
I think
fingers,
I have
man.
thick fingers. That's why I said I have big catcher mitt hand and then hot dog fingers. Like that's what I have.
Oh, man.
Sure we don't want to change the name of this?
Maybe this Nitro Brew with Sweet Cream at 2 o'clock in the afternoon was a bad choice.
Made a huge mistake. My gosh. But
Woo-wee.
yeah, so when I like look at but every time I look at my hand, I can't decide if I should be self-conscious. Well, I don't want to be self-conscious about anything. I don't care. I don't care what you think about my hands. I'm stuck
Yeah.
with them. I have massive hands. But then I realized too, like, I don't know.
How does it when you lift a barbell or you're on the rig?
So the
like,
rig in particular, I look at the rig and
Yeah.
I get calluses. And I think it's because like so much of this goes around. I don't know about your hand, but like I really have to get my hand up and over to get
So
a good grip.
well, I do. I false grip.
Yeah.
On the
And I
bar.
also weigh I'm down a little bit, but I also weigh a lot more than you, and so
Sure.
that's a lot of.
That is a lot.
That's a lot of, and I don't think I'm like significantly stronger than you.
A lot of
and
gravity
so it's a
pulling
lot
on
of
that
gravity
hand.
pulling down. But like, yeah, I mean, I
You
rarely
do
ever get
kinda
in
have,
here.
You kind of have little soft white collar hands too. Like, I do too, though. Who am I kidding?
But I
My
think
uncle was one of those people that had like sandpaper hands.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, like
because he
dipping in battery acid.
Yeah, he
sort
worked
of.
in construction his whole life.
Yeah.
Like, he basically had like leather mitts. He didn't have hands.
Yeah.
It was in it, and he'd be like, "Hey man," he'd always kind of give you that like,
Yeah.
"Good to see you," and I'd be like, Little
Like,
Steve,
I don't need
yeah.
to shave that side of my face today. Yeah, I think it's I think it does mess with my grip a little bit. Not so much that I'm using it as like it's not the my arms are too short, that's why I can't deadlift more.
So what
Like
you're
that.
saying is you'll never be a hand model,
Well, I think there's a place for me
and we
in
are
hand
definitely
modeling.
not hand.
I think I'm a
twins.
plus size hand model.
Okay,
I think that's
There you
where
go.
I'm at.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's
Silver
where I'm at.
linings. Silver linings.
I'm probably better for mittens than I am gloves. Like it's funny, just like when I get clothes, it's either like the sleeves are too short, or it's like this sweatshirt in particular, right? Like it fits fine, except it's too short.
Yeah.
Because like whether if it's an extra large, it's going to be too short. If it's an XL, if it's a 2XL, it probably fits better, but it's like the sleeves are too long or it's extra wide. And so gloves are kind of the same thing, where it's like if I get gloves, they're hanging out up here because the fingers aren't long enough, or I can't get them down over my hands, OJ style.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So anyway,
If glove don't
Grounds.
fit, you gotta quit.
must have quit.
Yeah.
Something like that. Did you see OJ got his vaccine?
Oh, good. In prison? Is he in prison still?
No, he's
again?
not. I don't even know what
Is
he's
this a
doing.
joke?
No, he literally tweeted out the other day that it's like the picture of
You
him getting
follow
his
OJ
vaccine.
on Twitter.
No, someone retweeted it
Oh,
or
okay.
something. And of course people blow up like, this guy can get away with this, and this.
And a vaccine.
And he gets his vaccine. However, I'm like, I've survived cancer and I'm diabetic and I blah, 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 blah. And I can't get mine. I was like, money talks.
Man, I went
Money
to
talks.
the doctor the other day and he said, I got COVID. I'm going to die. I said, doctor, I want a second opinion. You know what he said? You're ugly too.
You're ugly too. Have I told you why? Have I told you why ants can't get the coronavirus?
No, why?
They have little antibodies.
Oh,
Yeah. They don't need a vaccine.
Let's be on his little mouse or the mini window.
Little tiny mouse house. Little tiny mouse
Little
house.
tiny mouse house.
Gosh. she's so funny. Oh, you know what she does now? She whistles.
Yeah.
So she whistles.
You're off
but
camera
She
just
goes
a
like
little
this.
bit.
She goes, and she goes like that. And so she does that because like whenever like if Everett's sleeping and Megan does something,
Mhm.
needs something, she'll like whistle for me, and I'll just have to be like,
like
and I'll go do
quietly
it.
whistle,
And enough that I can hear like
but
across
Everett
the
can't hear
condo. No.
Okay.
And but Fee does that now. And
Yeah.
so Fee, whenever she goes to the bathroom and she drops a deuce and needs help wiping,
Yeah.
I just hear from the bathroom.
So that's gonna be like your code when she's like 13 or 14. Hey, Fee, you gotta woo woo. Yes, I do.
Yeah. So anyway. Oh man.
So
she's a special one.
we are in February. It is February.
It's February and it's icing outside. There was snow. There's ice. This is usually when we get snow. This time of year.
February is the worst month. Everyone
Yeah.
thinks it's not true.
Everyone
Worst is
expects-
bad. That's that. Reverse that.
Yeah.
February is the time of year in the Mid-Atlantic when our precipitation generally becomes icy and snowy.
It's when it gets worse before it gets better.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well done, sir. And that's called closure.
Closure.
To our earlier conversation, which you all weren't privy to.
Don't you wish though?
You can get that on our Patreon account for $600 a month. You can get.
I want to set that up just to see, like, will people find value in it?
For 600. Sure. For
Let's call it $50. We'll have a $50.
No, man, you got to make it. So this is the old adage that if you always swim,
which I think this is actually going to turn nicely into what we're
will.
Yeah.
If you always swim in the $5 sandbox, you will never get out of the $5 sandbox. If you want to professionalize yourself, you need to price yourself. So if I'm always pricing everything at $5, I'm going to get, and I want to make $500 a month, I'm going to get 100 $5 jobs.
Yes.
Right. And I'll do it because each one, right, for $5, what kind of quality do you need? Well, I barely need a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
That's the quality of service. I can do that. And I can be just busy.
Yeah.
So if somebody throws a job out there, somebody says like, well, I want to do this, be like, it's going to cost you $1,000. I'm worth $1,000. And you price it at a point where if they say, okay, I'm in, you go, okay, because you will rise to the challenge and you will get it done, or you won't, and you'll fail. And then you'll realize, well, I never could have swam in the $1,000 sandbox. So it doesn't really matter. Not that anyone's swimming in the sandbox, but you know what I mean? And I forget, I'm stealing this from somebody. And I think there was an interview on Tim Ferriss way back into he was in the double digits episodes at that point. And the idea, Jimmy Chin, it was Jimmy Chin. He's a rock climber photographer.
Okay.
He's amazing. Like he did a profile in New York Times picture. He's absolutely, if there's a rock climbing video or movie or something, he's probably been a part of shooting.
Part of it.
So he was talking about, he had, he's job here, job there. And he realized like, if he was ever going to make it, he needed a big contract. And so he priced this bid to a company for like normally he would have said like, I can do it for like $15,000.
Mm-hmm.
He said $500,000. Like that, like he went 10x more.
Wasn't even like a negotiate, just like
he said, this is to get this done, and to get it done at the value that you want it, it's going to cost $500,000. They looked at his resume, and here's the deal too, like the dude is amazing.
Right.
So
he wasn't walking with like his iPhone slides.
Right. And so they looked at it and they said, okay, cool. We need it in 6 months. And that was it. Because at $500,000, they're not going to then say like, okay, well, what kind of team do you need or whatever?
Right.
They're paying because they want to write you a check and be delivered a product in the timeline that they did. So he got that $500,000 check and he's like, oh God, I need a team. I need this. And he went to work and he got it done. And he shot, and I forget the rest of the story, but he, whatever it was, and he produced it, and it was like a snowboarding video or something for drink. Wings.
Red Bull?
Red Bull.
I think we'd be pretty good at charades.
Except I'm not allowed to talk.
Right. But I was picking up what you were putting down. Yeah.
It's good radio, folks. That's good radio right there.
Yeah. But so what you're saying is $500,000 Patreon.
$500,000 Patreon.
So we will record beforehand.
Yes.
But also whatever is said, whatever you pay for on the Patreon.
There's a non-disclosure agreement that you have to sign too.
Yeah. There's a whatever we say can and will not be used against us in the court of law.
That's correct.
Okay, cool.
Nor are they allowed to cancel their membership when we talk about them. Not that we talk about any of you all.
No.
We really just talk about ourselves.
It's actually pretty accurate.
It's more true than not.
Yeah. But on that notion, so the notion discussion.
On that note. In that notion. No, whatever. Yeah. Along those lines.
In the ocean. So we were talking about today about specialty classes. So for example, I'm running the weightlifting class one time a month, as opposed to this like continuously running thing. We've had other discussions of possibly running these kind of like mini sessions here and there as something that's not included in your membership, but is it's a one-off or it's a specialty thing. And so why is that a thing? Why do we not just have an open gym? Why do we not just say, hey, there's this thing on Thursdays for the next 6 weeks. It's part of your membership. So if you want to come do it. If not, no big deal.
So let's give this some context.
Let's
take the time machine back a couple years, a couple episodes, and we talked about the thing called open gym.
Open gym.
And people often, we get it about every 3
You don't cringe when you say it anymore.
We get it because I will tell you, Jason Fernandez and Jason Ackerman of Best Hour of Their Day are on a roll.
Yeah.
I will offer to our listening audience that a lot of their episodes are not geared towards the average CrossFitter who's doing CrossFit at an affiliate or whatever, or just, likes CrossFit. They're really oftentimes talking to affiliate owners, to coaches, though what they say is very interesting for the average CrossFitter because it gives perspective to the mindset sometimes of why affiliates and owners and coaches do the things they do, or why they might be changing things away from the things they do in the pursuit of offering a better service.
Right.
So they have really been on a roll of digging into some of these questions, and I'll loop back around that, but that's probably why I don't cringe anymore, because they have given me language to understand why I still don't like open gym as a professional, but I can appreciate it as a service, convenience. Oh God, what's the third one? So it's convenience, something, merchandise, or like a product. So service, a product, or convenience. And it's not product, but it's another word like that.
Yeah.
Those are three things that a business, whether it's a gym, a restaurant, a store, whatever, mom and pop shop, can quantify of value to you as the consumer. So open gym for some gyms, for some places, is both a convenience and a service that a gym can offer to its clientele if that clientele determines or deems it of value for them. I, as a professional, do not want to offer that in this way or the current state of where we are as a provider of a service.
Right.
Now, I am open to being convinced I'm wrong and letting somebody show me why I'm wrong and walk me through it. I'm always open to that. But I've yet to have somebody show me how it's not as simple as simply saying, we're going to have open gym from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Saturday and Sunday or whatever, during the day. It's not that simple. If you need to come and show me like, okay, structurally, systematically, economically, financially, insurance wise, like all of these other things you can move here, 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 and here to facilitate this one service, this one convenience to your membership. And you have a population which will immediately pay for that at a price point that yields a revenue that does not then get counteracted or lost in another revenue stream. Right. Like that's the conversation that I'd be willing to have, and somebody show me why I'm wrong. But nobody wants that. I mean, that's that's not a conversation that I would say our listening audience, as the normal customer CrossFitter of CrossFit cares about.
Yeah.
Because I think it's one of those things where they're not missing anything.
Right.
There's nothing missing for open gym. Now we loop back around because, and that's the context, we have decided to go a different direction in the service that we're offering is a specialty event or a specialty class that meets a need or a desire that people have expressed.
Yeah.
Yours being the Olympic weightlifting one was one of the first ones.
Yeah.
But again, people have to forget that wasn't just I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
You did 2 summers worth of Olympic lifting seminars right? You did it 2 summers ago. You did it last summer, even through COVID.
Yeah.
You then brought in Jared Enderton as a visiting expert.
It's true. Yeah. It's been a
right. Like you have
flies.
built basically a little internal community of Olympic weightlifting, not expertise. You've built your expertise. You are selling your expertise, but of people who are interested and want that in addition to their general physical preparedness that they get in their standard classes. Yeah. Right. So that, and you always had an eye towards, it wasn't like, I just like Olympic weightlifting, I want to create an Olympic weightlifting club. Right. Like, no. Like you
make cool t-shirts and people show up in
this in because it was something that you felt could help augment the services already being offered.
I even go back. Remember we started it. I mean, even back when we first opened, remember, I think you were doing it a couple nights too. It was like Mary and a couple people. Remember, it was like 7:30 at night.
Oh,
a couple nights. Remember that?
I probably blocked it out.
It was one of those times where we realized, like, oh wow, we have only so much to give in a single day. And I remember at 7:30. But it's even started from there, and it's always been. But you're right. It's always been kind of this
I do. And it was like 2 people, and I did. Yeah, it was Mary and Shelley.
Yeah,
a couple times.
Yeah.
And one other person maybe, but yeah.
And it's just kind of, but it's always been kind of this little core group that's always expressed an interest in this one particular thing, but then there's always been it's never just been like this add-on, which I think has been important because we saw it in a previous life where there was a weightlifting club, and it was you pay whatever it was, $150 a month. Here's this weightlifting club on Tuesdays and Thursday nights.
So the gents, the best hour of their day guys, talked a little bit about this in a recent episode as well. And you can do this very badly. So basically you can create this by somebody who, right. So we create a barbell club that meets, Tuesdays and Thursday nights, and it's $10 or whatever. And so let's say I've been CrossFitting for 6-7 months, and maybe I came from like an Olympic weightlifting background, and and what I really need for my overall health and wellness and my general physical preparedness is more CrossFit. Right. But I love back squat day. I love bench press day. I love deadlift day. And like, I am like, today's workout, 5x5 back squat is my jam. I'm going to be at the top of the leaderboard.
It's like, I don't think we could have programmed a better day, a better work. This is a crowd pleaser.
Yeah.
And on a day like today, the weather being what it is.
Yeah, it was a ton of fun this morning.
Today being Monday.
Yeah. So it's Friday when you're listening to this. Weird. Time is so weird.
So weird.
So, all right. So we've painted the picture of the athlete that I am.
Yeah.
And here we go. Me as the gym, I'm confusing my offerings to this person because they've come to me to say, hey, experts, make me better, make me healthier, help me. Right. Then maybe we have a conversation. Well, what do you need? Well, I'm looking to lose, I've put on the 25 pounds since whatever. And, I'm hitting my 40s and I just don't move as well. And my knee always hurts. And, I'm just looking to.
You didn't have to read straight from my diary for this. You could just use anyone else, Jack.
And so, right. What's this person needs a little bit of endurance, a little bit of stamina, a little bit of cardiovascular respiratory endurance. They need some strength and some power and some, of the other stuff too.
Yeah.
But most likely, if most of their workouts are in the 12 to 18 minute range and they're lightweight, higher rep, like that's probably for the first year or two going to be the best bang for that person's buck with a heavy day every 1 to 7 days. CrossFit, general physical preparedness, CrossFit programming. Thank you. Warm up and work out.
Woo-whoa.
Woo-whoa. Thank you. Woo-whoa. Here I am. I offer a barbell club Tuesdays and Thursdays. Now, worst case scenario, I don't charge for it. It's already included in your membership, right? You sign up and show up, right? Best case, I charge like an extra $100 a month for this person. But it's on top, right? It's on top of their membership, but they totally don't have to pay the membership to also get it. They could just do the barbell club. So this person does this for a month or two and they're like, what the hell? I hate the CrossFit stuff. It hurts. It's uncomfortable. You know what? I'm not going to keep coming to classes, but I really want to keep coming to the barbell club. And this person gets to now do something which it'd be fine for them, right? They're not going to be a horrible human being, but it's not going to get them as fit and healthy and generally physical prepared, because we're going to be doing heavy lifts, low cardiovascular, respiratory endurance stuff, not a lot of gymnastics in that like weightlifting barbell club, right? And this person is going to get to hide from his weaknesses and never actually improve, but feel like I'm getting better.
Right.
Now, like I'm the grandmother that feeds this person their cookies because I love them and that's how I show them their love.
Yeah.
And I cause them to die at 50.
Right.
Rather than the person who speaks honestly and authentically and says, dude, what you need is to come to CrossFit 4 days a week and stop this barbell shit. Yeah, but you offer it and be like, you're right. I'm sorry. I confused it for you. Yeah. This is what you need. That's what I think you've done. Now, you've done the complete opposite of that.
Right.
You've said this thing is very specific, and with it comes the responsibility to also figure out what else you want to do.
Yeah.
And it's manifested as you pay to play because there's skin in the game. It's like a restaurant that offers, like, Smokehouse does their Thanksgiving dinner. And so I come to dinner, I go there and I eat, a meal on Tuesday of Thanksgiving week, and I, drop a lot of money, and I'm like, sweet, you guys are doing a Thanksgiving dinner menu? Yeah. Can I get that too? Like, sure, let me just pack it up for you. Take it. Yeah, cool. No, they say, well, no, that's something totally different, but we are offering it. And if you would like it, you can get that too.
Yes.
Just know that it is a different service, but it is with our flavor, with our style. And so that's what I think your Olympic weightlifting specialty course is, because it's a special thing on top of what you're offering. It's not CrossFit like that, and that's okay.
Yeah.
It is beneficial and helps an athlete who does it to better appreciate how the Olympic lifts done mechanically well, consistently, can yield higher intensity in a CrossFit workout. But it also shows, like, if you're going to do those things on that weekend, you better find yourself a couple extra days of rest.
I asked everyone yesterday, who's coming to class tomorrow? And none of them raised their hand. And I was like, good call.
So
here we go.
And that's okay, because they probably squatted a lot.
It was oh no, what I asked, my first question was, I'm sorry, who came Friday? And like a handful raised their hand. I was like, who came yesterday? And I think everyone with the exception of Roger.
Gotcha.
And then I was like, so who's coming tomorrow?
That's
and they were
a good,
kind of like, So it was more like the make sure, like, if you came Friday, Saturday, and today, you should probably take tomorrow
and
off.
What you just did is exactly what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
You're not making the decision for them.
Yeah.
You're simply saying, hey, I'm just calling attention over here to this thing called overtraining.
Yeah.
And we're working for 90 minutes today on some really hard stuff.
Yep.
Just want you to remember, if you hurt yourself on Monday, I told you.
Just gave you a heads up. It's like, here's what Monday is going to look like too. So FYI,
so this then, other specialty courses or other events, gymnastics, because you've got the weightlifting one kind of covered, which is awesome.
Yeah.
So why don't we run a series of pull up, handstand, push up, handstand, walking, muscle up seminars or sessions, once or twice a quarter, or once a quarter, 3 to 4 times a year.
Why don't we?
I don't know.
Maybe we should.
Do you
think there's a need for it? Or I'm not a need for it, a want for it? Do you think I'm sorry, going back to what you were saying, I didn't mean saying, is there a need for it? Because is there a need for this weightlifting class? Maybe not necessarily, because
I think it's a great question.
But it's not necessarily, but I think there's people that really want it because
Yeah.
they want this extra attention on this thing.
But I think there is a need for it.
Yeah.
How did you learn to get good at it?
I spent a lot of extra time just doing,
right?
Getting coached, doing it,
Yep.
having people look at me.
Hung out with Alex for probably 100, 200 hours of time, right? So it doesn't happen on accident.
Yeah.
Like I would say there is a need for it. For the gymnastics, I spent 3 years with the mids doing and just bleeding Craig Holt, one of the assistant gymnastics coaches at the Naval Academy, going up to the third deck of McDonough and just messing around with gymnastics.
Yeah.
And then we took the seminar half the seminar.
Yeah.
We took the seminar, but it was sort of they put it in CrossFit language, stuff that I kind of was already like, oh, right. Hollows and arches is the foundation of the movement. Right. So I'm not a gymnastics expert at this point, but I am.
You put a lot of hours in it.
Yes.
Understanding.
I would say I have expertise in how gymnastics can make CrossFit movements better.
Yeah.
And so yes, I think there is a need because we have 3 movement modalities: gymnastics, weightlifting, monostructural. Well, guess what? We only have so much time to cover those 3 movements, and we don't do all 3 of them every single day. So if it's running day, like why don't we offer running seminars? We could, right?
Yeah.
Like I would say I am not an expert at running. I actually don't even really like it.
I tell people all the time, if it wasn't for CrossFit, I'd probably never run.
So, maybe there's somebody out there that is better at it and does know how to introduce a series of running type progressions to make somebody a better runner. Rowing, 100%. I could do that one.
You know what you're talking about?
I kind of know what I'm talking about, right? Like, and again, simply because I've been doing it since I was 13 years old. I've been involved in the sport and did it forever. So
you've done it. You lived it.
If there was a swimming, Monica did it for free, which right, she offered it when people were getting ready for the try, and that was a perfect example. That was a very organic one. But in all honesty, like we should have freaking jumped on that and exploited her. I mean, utilized her expertise
because she's
for a win-win. Because she's an amazing coach.
She taught me how to be a more efficient swimmer, and just spending like 2 hours with her. Over like it was
breathing.
Breathing, moving,
just
like
knowing how to teach somebody how to breathe correctly. That it's like, oh right.
The value in that.
Yeah. Just take it for granted.
Yeah.
So that's the type of stuff where when you asked, is there a need? 100%.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's a one. Right. And so that's always, so I will offer full transparency, or maybe the, truth to the microphone, honesty of, that's the part that scares me, that the beta test of offering it's time, right? So it's at some point it becomes if I'm going to do it, I've got to make the commitment to trade my time for the chance that I make nothing back out of it from a financial level that is currently what I'm getting for the trading of my time. And so that sounds creepy and a little like icky, but the reality is we are kind of in the business a lot of times of trading our time for money. And so not everything we do is simply for money. But this initially starts out as like is it worth, quote unquote, worth it?
Right.
And if worth is, we're equating that to dollar signs. Is it worth it to do it at a price point that doesn't yield the same amount of value, not a dollar sign, for having time with my family, with sports with the boys?
So I think the word, you're right. The dollar sign and the energy expenditure that is being pulled away from stuff outside of this has to be a big worth. I can't think how long ago it was, but I was starting to get to that point with Beasts, because I'm like, there's a handful of kids and I'm really happy with the kids that come and do it. And they're really, but at one point it was like, I'm putting in hours a week. Because where else could I be putting that energy and time?
Because you already have 25, 30 people who consistently come to that 5:15 and 6:15 class.
Yeah.
And if you're expending energy for value at a different place and it starts to degrade the value that you're offering to them for what they're already paying, when does the conversation become what I'm paying for is not, from their perspective, what I'm paying for is not yielding the value that it once did.
Yeah.
And that's always my fear of like, sure, I could spend an extra, it's on paper, it's 90 minutes for a seminar or a specialty class on a Saturday or a Sunday.
Yeah.
But that's 3 hours of prep work before that 90 minutes.
Yep.
That's a half hour before everybody shows up. It's a half hour everybody leaves. And for me, emotionally or personally, it's a good 2 to 3 hour recovery of just like, so when it's all said and done, it's 90 minutes on the floor. It's 90 minutes in execution. I mean, this is anybody who teaches or work, right? Anybody who's a professional understands. I'm not telling, right? I'm not saying like that's like just common sense, right? If you're going to do something of value, there's a cost at the front and there's a cost afterwards. Yeah. So does that then degrade on Monday morning when I wake up to coach the 5 a.m. class and I'm a curmudgeonly, asshole to everybody?
Nobody wants that.
Right. And and so that's also the question of, okay, well then why has it got to be me?
Right.
So why has it got to be you? And that's now the question of what's the value or who's the hidden expertise that says like, well, I could do this. I could do that. It's not yoga, right? Like we're not a yoga studio.
Yeah.
Like that's always that, well, I got a friend and they coach yoga. And for some reason, people have equated CrossFit and yoga.
Yeah.
I want somebody who does yoga consistently to come in here at 37 degrees. When it's 37 degrees by the middle of the 6 a.m. class, I want them to look at me and say, yeah, people are going to love coming to do yoga in here, right? While they're doing their yoga class, we're going to have people on the other side of the rig working out.
Yeah.
Right. And maybe they come in here into this place and do yoga. And while they're doing yoga, you're going to be dropping barbells out back.
Yeah.
Pretty sure, or out front or out there, that's not going to make for a very symbiotic relationship. I've asked Steph numerous times, like, is it okay in there? And she has far enough away and she's got her sound machine set up. Yeah. She has not had a single complaint from people. Yeah. And so that worked. That was my biggest fear when we first started. I was like, ooh, people know like they're coming to a gym to do this, right? Like she's like, oh yeah, they're totally fine. Yeah. So that's where I chuckle about like, I love yoga at a yoga studio where it's designed and it's built, right?
That's where it's supposed
to be. There's a mise en scene. There's a feeling of this is the way it's supposed to be. Yeah. That don't mix.
I'm not going to a Waffle House for a good sirloin. You know what I mean? Like it's
Waffle House.
That's why I got to tell you about a fun IHOP story.
But that's right. That's why we did it. We went to, like Katie had it set out on that dock. Like that was exactly what I would imagine. And she picked the right times of day, right? She scoped it out. Like she knew. And now imagine that, but on this pier
be very different
2:30 in the afternoon when Prestige is busy getting stuff moving and going.
Yep.
Right. Like nobody's going to come down and do yoga on that pier.
It's a beautiful view. Yeah. It's a beautiful view. I think, this is not exactly the environment.
So that's where it's not just a plug and play. It truly is like, okay, well, is it the right service offered by the right professional to the right audience or clientele that has determined that is a thing of value that I'm willing to pay for? I have the expertise that can offer it at the value point that they've deemed it's worth it. Yeah. And it fits within from a convenience standpoint or an availability. We're not doing it at 7:30 at night because that's the only time. And people are like, okay, well, I want to come, but I can't come at 7:30.
Yeah.
Right. So those are like those intersecting circles all need to fit. And then, you got magic. Yeah. That all comes back to that is exhausting. Like that's why a lot of times none of this is taken or hasn't really happened, because I think like, I'm gonna do CrossFit really, really well.
What's up, Tommy? I forget that we're on the microphone sometimes. And I think it's it's one of those, we get those questions all the time about what's can we do this? Can we do this? Can we do this? And it's also one or two people. It also seems a lot louder sometimes too. Like
Right.
one or two people mention, it's like, wow, are they speaking for everybody? And you have to remember, like, one or two people. And I think that's the way I priced out the weightlifting class, and I've done other things. I do need, like, there's a bare minimum that needs to be done to make it, again, not that people aren't worth it, but
your model is
my
the model
time
of
is-
success. Like the way you did that, that is the way that it can be and should be done. It's not the only way, but that's the right way to do it. And it took 3 years.
yeah.
Right. So that's the thing too, is you can't just be like, okay, well, I'm going to whip this together and throw it out there. Like you had to run a lot of different scenarios.
It's not a home run on the first go.
Yeah.
Even as a coach too, like, I don't think you realize how much you know or don't know until you get there. Hey guys. Hi, Nicole. It's Nicole. I haven't seen Nicole in forever.
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're
They also
finishing up
wanted to
right
be
now,
on the
though.
podcast.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, that's good.
Cool. That's good.
Yeah. Gratitude. Nicole, do you have a gratitude?
Thankful for snow days.
I love
snow days.
That's a good one. I wish it wasn't covered in ice though. Is it snowing again yet though? It's supposed to start snowing again.
Yeah, not yet.
It keeps
Not
getting
yet.
pushed back. I
Really
love
wet.
snow. My gratitude this week. So I'm gonna go the pro wrestling route real quick. Last night was like the Royal Rumble, which is it's the pay-per-view that now begins at like Road to WrestleMania. Because if you win the Royal Rumble, you get a shot at the title. You automatically become the number one contender.
Shot at the title, baby.
You become the number one contender for the title at WrestleMania. So
Okay.
you are automatically plugged in. You are the main event at WrestleMania, which win the title or not, that's the money like match of the year. Main event at WrestleMania. And so I was working on stuff last night, and at the same time, like, I've got the Royal Rumble going on my phone. I've got like stuff over here on the computer, and I have this group text. It was so it's me, my brother, and then two of my friends who I've grown up with, who basically got me into pro wrestling. And man, it took me back because we haven't talked wrestling like for that long and so long.
Yeah.
Like, and it was so much fun. I can't think of that. Like, I don't know. I felt like a kid again. Like, it felt like we were in like 5th grade, sitting in like my friend's like basement, watching, whatever pay-per-view was on, like
Jumping
eating
on
pizza,
mattresses
like,
and like,
yeah. Oh, we kept bringing up like certain, it was one time we tried putting one of our friends like through a table, and the table didn't give. It didn't end so well.
God.
Or like tried to power bomb a friend on my bed once, and then like someone else grabbed his leg and completely missed the bed.
Oh.
So they say don't try it at home, but that's like, don't push the red button or trying this at home. Trying this at home. So we already have plans for whatever WrestleMania, whatever.
You're
it's gonna
over
look like,
35.
yeah.
You're not allowed to do that stuff at home anymore, by the way.
You think I don't do it with Fiona? Are you kidding me? She asked me to power bomb her on the bed. So anyway, it's just so again, pro wrestling every once in a while, but that group, so my brother, so Brian, who I was called BPOC, and then Chad, who actually he runs he does his own podcast. But
Nice. What's
but
it called?
it's called Horror Movie Barbecue.
Oh, fun.
So he loves horror movies, like classic, like Friday the 13th and stuff. He talks pro wrestling. He goes to these like signing events and meets people all the time. I don't know. He's awesome. So that was fun. That was long.
Mine are these glasses. When you pulled these out of your pocket at the beginning of the show, you had just finished telling the story about where you were coming from. And I thought to myself, it completely, like, I watched your whole body language change when you pulled these out. And it was like, that's all okay. Right? Because I got these in my pocket.
Yeah.
And if I'm walking around with these in my pocket,
Yeah.
no matter where you came from and whatever that was,
Yeah.
which again, not a conversation y'all are privy to, $600 for our Patreon account. You're more than welcome to listen to that
You can be our
conversation.
first customer, Nicole. She rolls her eyes.
You can
hard.
figure out why these glasses made me laugh. And
Yeah.
seriously, man, made my day.
Nice.
So
Good stuff.
we will see you on the creek.
That's so good.